What is going on, everyone? My name is Israel, and I just wanted to Israel Richard, and I just wanted to get on here. I wanted to talk about kind of just what has been going on. I haven't been like live like that in a minute, and I'm also testing out a new streaming platform too, so hopefully this kind of all works out. But what I see happening, first off, I also wanted to start this off by saying I come in peace. I am not at war with the United States or Israel. I come in full faith and credit, and I am not trying to cause dissension with my words. I'm not trying to get anybody harmed, and I will be just speaking about some topics. Anyways, I just want to get into it. What's been going on in the social climate of the world in the United States right now? You have Israel, and you have the United States, and it seems like there's been a lot, like a lot of media that's just getting dumped about the tiny hat people, the blues, and hey, everybody, the people who wear tiny hats. I don't know if we can, obviously we can say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I just want the video to stay up. But that has just been shoved out into the forefront. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. I've noticed that. That's really weird, and that it's not as shadow banned as it was, and it's gaining more popularity. And so as people are learning the information that they're going to be learning about Israel and about the Jews, it's going to be a hard road for the populace, and a lot of people are going to get angry. And that is never the solution. And I'm not calling for that either. When it comes to when it comes to the Jews, right? When it comes to Israel, when it comes to the Hebrews, and to be honest, what is a Jew? And this is a question that I've asked, and I'm not saying this and people are like, what is a woman? Or, oh, well, you're ignorant. That's not what I'm saying. If you go do your research on it, you should be able to kind of solidify and nail it down fairly easy, like fairly quickly. I don't know that story. I'm not a Jew. I never claimed to be a Jew. But I say that to make a point. I don't say that to like confuse anybody. But if we're talking about in my mind, it's God's chosen people, it's the Israelites, it's the Hebrews, right? And then you have, their greatest minds, allegedly, from the center of Tel Aviv, come out and say that they aren't Hebrews or Israelites of the Bible. But then you go and you talk to Jewish people. You meet them, and they're all allied with Israel, and they have rabbis and stuff, and that's what they believe. And you try to be close to you. All right. And then if you like, why do they practice Kabbalistic mysticism? Right? Why do they practice that? You know, if you keep commenting that, I'm going to ban you from the chat. I'm just going to ban you. Okay, you're banned. Can I ban you right now? Yeah, I gotta. Okay. And so once again, I'm a friend of the Jews. I'm trying to help them, okay? Because I don't want to go to war with them at all. Because I believe that actual Jews, because there are Jews and then there are Jews that aren't Jews, right? That claim to be Jews but are not Jews, that are the synagogue of Satan. And I mean, I remember reading that. I was like 16. I'm 32. I remember reading that. Why are you 7 years old? What are you doing on? When I was reading that in the scriptures at like 16, why don't I want to go to war with them? Well, for many, many reasons. But also this is... Hold on. Try to get the chat to scroll. This is my first time on this streaming platform, so give me a minute. Why wouldn't I want to go to war with the Jews? Well, because there are those Hebrews and those Israelites who are actual Jews, who are God's chosen people. And even if they're not, like the nomadic Jews, the Zionist Jews, like I don't support a lot of the crap that they do, but they still have their right to exist just like everybody else. But that doesn't mean that they get to do what they get to do or what they do just to anybody, right? So we're talking about, whenever they give a circumcision to a baby, sucking off the head of the penis to get the foreskin, and then giving that child an STD, right? Okay, that's what scripture you're referring to. It's in the book of Revelation. It's in the scroll of Revelation. Just go, you can literally Google it. You can Google Synagogue of Satan. You can Google the Jews that call themselves Jews, which are not Jews. I believe it's the last chapter of Revelation. But it's in the scroll of Revelation. Exactly, like I don't agree with them wiping out an ethnic state, right? And this happened, and right before, and like a whole group of another people. That's what I'm talking about, right? But that doesn't mean that they don't get to have like their land and they don't get to exist, right? That's not what that means. I'm also not going to go against the Lord Jesus Christ, and let me explain that. I'm not going to go against God. And in the last days, in the end times, which we're in, it says in Zechariah 14 that he will bring all the world's armies against Jerusalem, and then he himself will rescue it. And everybody who goes against him, who goes against Jerusalem, their tongues will burn out of their mouths, their eyes will burn out of their sockets, and their flesh will burn off of their bones, right? Yeah, Messianic Jewish people are awesome. Like it's so cool having the Holy Spirit there with the the gathering, like with that culture. and with the feasts and the histories and stuff. It's really, really, really special. It's really cool. I'm a huge fan of Messianic Jews. But that's where, like, I understand, and then not even just like we have Messianic Jews, right? And then we have actual traditional Jews who have been blinded, hardened, partially blinded, partially hardened by the Lord, as Paul talks about, who will be regrafted back in, right? And who will believe in Jesus. And I'm not even saying even the Zionists, like the really, like the really, the bad ones, the really intense ones, like even and there are some Zionists that aren't into the whole occult Satanism thing, and they're just like, yeah, Israel first, and I get that. And this is when I come back to, like, what is a Jew, right? Because there's a whole spectrum of it, right? And yeah, just like there is for Christianity, right? But I don't know. For me, I'm just like, hey, I follow Jesus. I follow, like, the way. Like, that's. I'm not saying, look at me, I'm better than anybody else, or this is the right way to do it. That's just my walk with God. And so I'm here as a friend, one, to the United States as well, and to Israel, and to the Jews. I'm not trying to get them killed, or honestly, I'm okay with them not even getting kicked out or any of that. Like, they can still be here. Like, I'm not against their existence by any means. Shoot. Hold on, guys. But what I see is a lot of, I don't know, it's like subversion and scare tactics. And obviously we're all familiar with the loans, we're all familiar with the pornography, with the media, with the education system, right? If I need to go and explain each one of those and how Zionist Jews have affected that and tried to subvert it, or did successfully subvert it, take it over, and then manipulate it and use it to harm the populace of the Western culture, not to mention Hollywood music, right? How they've infiltrated everything. And I'm also not the guy who's like, oh, look, the Jews are the only ones causing trouble. That's not true at all, right? But right now, this is about that. Because I see that being rolled out. It's like the Jews are about to be presented as a sacrifice to the people by the more controlling elites, right? And we can call them, it depends on who you talk to, really, about who thinks that is at the top of everything and who's above who, right? Personally, I believe there's been power struggles throughout the whole thing, and a lot of them are, separated. Exactly, Alyssa. So there's a lot going on, and that was just a side note. But the solution is just to say no to everything the Jew has to offer. That's it. Because all they offer is high interest usury loans and sodomy and sex changes and pornography and poison in the food and technology that's brainwashing you through MK Ultra, not understanding what propaganda is. Like, the news media is to keep, the solution is to keep the Jews out of America's business. Exactly. 100%. America first. And that's why Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Personally, I believe because he started to because he's pro-America, and so he's like America first, and he learns that he's learning in like live time that Israel is doing all of this stuff, and what happened after that, whether he had a conversation with Bibi and all that stuff, we don't know, but we do know his last like 48 hours, he was talking about this a lot, right? And he has the ear of a lot of young people. Charlie was a CIA hack and flew too close to the sun. And yeah. I mean, that might be possible. I'm not saying he is or he wasn't, but I don't know. And I'm not going to make a claim like that. But, anything's possible, right? My car stinks. It does not, actually. It smells very good. No, David was not weak for forgiving Saul. That's so off topic. No, he was not. That's actually strength, and that's honor, and that's the right thing to do. But what that is that's a trigger scenario to allow people to get outraged and uproared about something, to try to continue to split the country and to try to focus it all on one group that's doing it, when in fact we're the ones responsible for saying yes to it all, right? Like whenever they ordered the for all the gold and silver to be taken, right, in 1933, we didn't have to give it up. We could be like, no, like screw you, I am not doing that, right? But we did it anyway. We just gave it over because they said, because the president issued it, right? We didn't have to give up all of our gold and silver. Thanks, Alyssa. And I say that to say, because that's really where this started, right? If you go look at Germany and the Weimar Republic that took over Germany, and you go, when did it end? In 1933, it was like 1919 to 1933, right? Okay, so when did all of our gold and silver have to get taken? 1933, right? But the Weimar Republic was mainly controlling Germany. It was occupying, it was controlling them. And it was the governmental system. And this is what took down, really, Germany down worse. And a lot of it was compound interest, right? I'm not even going to get into the Zionism or the smut and the homosexuality and the sodomy and the transgenderism. I'm not even going to get into that crap, right? But let's just look at it from an economic standpoint, let alone a cultural standpoint. It's literally everything that's happening in the United States right now. It's everything that's going on in the United States is this. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we need to go mass. Once again, the answer is not to kill Jews. That is not the answer. Do not harm them. Okay, for multiple reasons. I just feel bad for trans people, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I feel really, really sad when I think about it. Yeah, it just kind of breaks my heart. But, because it's just, it's literal magic at work. If you understand high-level Zionism, and I don't even understand it that well, but I know of it. What's the parable about the dog eating crumbs from the master's table? Could you explain? It was about a Gentile woman who wanted to get deliverance from Jesus for her daughter, and Jesus said, "I've only come for the Jews. I haven't come for the Gentiles." And she said, "But would And then Jesus like gave her a parable, and said, does a master let a dog eat at the master's table? And she said, no, Lord, but a dog at least eats the crumbs that falls off the master's table. And he said, great is your faith. You have been your daughter has been healed. And so every person introduces them to Jesus personally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all need God, and God is the name of Jesus. We can say Yeshua, Yahushua, right? And so if we just look at it from an economic standpoint, that they were delivering, like, the money was so bad in early Germany in the early 1900s that, and this is all because of compound interest. This is all because of usury, right? It would take a truckload of money just to go get a loaf of bread, and by the time you were getting your money into the truck and driving to go get the loaf of bread, the money wasn't enough because of inflation and the devaluation, right? So the price would rise on the bread and the money would go down, and so you would need more money to buy the loaf of bread. Like, that's how bad it was. And that's exactly what is happening almost to, like, President Trump has stifled it with tariffs, but the way that Hitler handled it, he just kicked him out. And Churchill even said that. He said the only crime that Germany committed was trying to be separate from the world banking system. Right? It's paraphrased. I don't know word for word. But that's a quote from Winston Churchill. And Churchill tried to push him into a war. Like, he did. He successfully did. He said, we're going to push them into a war. We're going to push Germany into a war. Right? Oh, and by the way, I saw newspapers from like 1919 and like 1915 saying that like 6 million Jews are in peril. Like 6 million Jews are going to die. 6 million. I'm like, what is with 6 million? Right? That's why I said I know of Kabbalism. What is with 6 million? Why did they say 6 million died and are gonna die? Like, what kind of pre-programming is that, right? Yeah, it's just kind of wild how they've manipulated everything and turned. I literally saw it was a Jew. He had the freaking hair stuff, and he said that like they believe that God is Satan and Satan is God. I don't believe that, for and on the record, but it's the inversion, the upside down, right? Because the enemy is not God, right? He calls us his friend, actually. So I don't know how you can be friends and enemies with the same person. That makes no sense. Only to people who don't know the Father, right? Sadly. And I just had to come on here. I had to talk about this because this is crazy. Like, what I'm seeing happening in the culture. Is there a culture shift happening? Yeah, but I think it's heading towards something that if it's not controlled, it can get out of hand. And when I say controlled, I mean we need to talk about this as a peoples. We don't need to go be rash and go and let irrational anger go and like harm and wish harm upon people. And that's kind of the main reason that I want to talk about it. And just know that the thing that you don't want to do, because I've been talking about this for years. Like, I almost got fired over this from one of my jobs. I'm not going to go tell that story right now. But, like, I didn't do anything. I was just talking about it. And, like, I made a joke. Like, that was it. And anyways, and that was like 6 years ago. That was a long time ago. I didn't do anything like wrong. But that's how like indoctrinated, and that's another reason why I want to talk about this, because I was kind of pissed off when I started like researching early 1900s Germany, like before World War II, and like what was going on with the Weimar Republic. And I'm like, I didn't really want to like dig into this that much, because there was still, for me personally, that like cognitive dissonance in myself, that programming that's like built in at such a young age about the Holocaust. And like, I saw like people who allegedly lived in the Holocaust. I mean, they said they had a tattoo of it, but like, okay. And I'm not saying that they're liars. I'm just saying it's either or, you know, because like, I don't know if it's in their like their genetics, like Jews' genetics, but like, are they just naturally like skittish people? Are they like deer? Like, whenever, like, because I was knocking doors one time in this neighborhood. I used to do door-to-door sales, and I met a Jewish rabbi, and he was like the head rabbi, but he also had a Freemason ring on. And I was like, I just started talking to him, and he seemed like the most normal guy. And then I brought up the Talmud, and I was like, I know what it says, bro. I was like, I see your ring. I was like, I see you, dude. Like, I know who you are. And he got like super skittish, right? And then when I made fun of this Jewish girl, because I had just like learned about, that's not true. I learned about this when I was 17. I learned about Zionism, but I didn't want to believe it. Like, this has been a journey personally for me. Because, you know, like I grew up, you know, as a Christian. I still am a Christian, but like, I guess, you know, the best thing to do is to just not accept their offers. And that's still, like, I cannot believe that they twisted early 1900s Germany the way that they have. And I've listened to a few clips, a few speeches of the man with the mustache, and I'm like, his speeches they sound really good. They're translated, you know, it's the internet, right? But I'm like, that sounds excellent. Like, Christian values, like good banking, addressing the problem, right? And once again, I'm not talking no harm, not talking about any harm, right? Because I'm telling you, all that talk is over. The whole, I'm gonna attack you, and you're, and da 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 da. Like, I know how the media operates. I know what these people say and how they say shit. Like, and it's not gonna work anymore. It's done. The truth is coming to light. Everyone will know about it. Everyone. But it's going to be different. It's going to be different. And then on the other hand, we also have Islam creeping up around the corner. And that ain't no shit to play with neither. Right? But that's a whole nother live. Don't even really get me into that right now. And these Zionists think that they're going to like merge Christianity and Islam, and they're going to go together. And like, what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring about and force the end times prophecies to come about, like in the book of Daniel and the book of Isaiah. Like, they're trying to force this. And but the thing is if you know, like, Kabbalism, and modern. It's not even Judaism. I don't even want to call it that because it's Kabbalistic. It's Freemasonry, which is Luciferianism, right? And so their idea of everything is a lot different in the end. And so they are trying to force and bring upon the end times for their end world system, and they're trying to take over the freaking earth, right? And have us in this reptilian. We can call it a prison planet, right? For lack of a better word. Which that's actually a pretty good word. It's just I don't really believe it's like a planet. It's a realm, but and they're trying to do this by manipulating frequencies, right? And they're trying to predict the future and control and steer the future by manipulating people's emotions and frequencies, right? And their minds through propaganda and world stage events. And the Charlie Kirk incident was a perfect example of that. You can see the frequency spikes, but how actually God kind of like God, the Most High, like I am, right? The one who came down from heaven and went back up. Can you tell me his name? And what is the name of his son? The Almighty, the burning bush, right? His spirit was in the bush, but he spoke from it. We don't need to harm the Jews. We don't need to harm the Satanists. Personally, that's not. Now, I'm all for defending our own. Don't get me wrong. That's a difference. There's a difference in that. And Mordecai and actual true Jews did that, right? In the time of Esther, when Haman came to hang them. Okay? And that is, I think, something that is coming to the United States of America and also to Israel, right? But everybody needs to keep a level head, because this is going to keep going, and people are going to continue to be tested, just like what was in Erica Kirk's opening letter statement about the wisdom of men will be tested, right? Or the Queen of Sheba coming to test the wisdom of Solomon, right? The people are going to be tested by this, and a lot of believers, because it's so ingrained in a Christian to support Israel, right? And if you really think about it, you don't really know why. They just tell you do. Benjamin Netanyahu was like, those who bless Israel are blessed, and those who curse Israel are cursed. And the Bible says, God said that to Abram. I understand they're the descendants of Abraham, but they're not Abraham. And these people who practice Zionism and Kabbalism and child trafficking and all the crap that they're into, I'm telling you, they don't know the Father. And that's what Jesus kept saying to him in John chapter 8. And I really feel bad for them too. Like, because they've been nomadic. And I mean, what kind of a person like does that to other people? Like, all the sacrificing of little ones, of younglings, all the drinking of the red juice, all of the pornography, the usury. I mean, just the usury. What was it, Constantine, that said that if you like let in, if you, they showed Constantine the tables of compound interest, and he said if you let compound interest like stay, like all of the, it will destroy all of the real estate in France. And that's exactly what happened. You go look at '08, and then just go look at now. It's worse now. Like, people could say the stock market's going up and up and up and everything that's happening, the tariffs, and Trump is doing his best to pump this economy full of just income, of just cash flow. And he's doing a really good job. Like, he's doing a really good job. But at what expense? At what cost, right? When it comes to, and I understand you need AI to rival the AI that's out there and all of that type of stuff. But, like, I get it. Like, you can't just not be in the game just because, like, as a country. Like, I understand all of that. You know, some people are like, oh, it's so evil and it's like going to be the mark of the beast, and he's setting up this system, and it's going to be the system that's going to, you know, go into the mark of the beast. And it's like, I mean, maybe not, you know, but I'm not saying come, you know, don't come down and save us. Like, you know what I mean? That I'm not saying that. Like, please, come on, you know, Lord. But oh, by the way, I want to say this. I am not a Christian Zionist by any means. That needs to be on the record. Definitely not Israel first. My personal stance on Israel is, do you deserve to exist? Of course you do. Do you deserve to have your own land? Whatever God says. I'm not personally, I'm indifferent to you having your own land, personally. But whatever God says. And because he kicked you out. You got kicked out. Again, that's why you've been roaming and roaming and roaming. I heard a rabbi say that it's disobedience to God for Israel to have its own homeland right now, because the last time they got kicked out and the second temple got destroyed. Right? That's when the second temple period ended. And they've just roamed for like 1,500 years, or whatever it was, 2,000 years. Anyways, and they did this. They went from country to country to country, starting up their own banks and doing compound interest and trying to rival the king, and then the king would kick them out because it destroyed the economy. You know, maybe that's, if there is anything true about what they portrayed to us, about what the Middle Ages were, maybe that's why they were so dark, is because of the Jews doing their compound interest in every damn country. That's a thought, right? Maybe it wasn't because it was because of monarchy. Maybe that's why the Jews hated monarchy. Like, I mean, that makes sense. Like, they get bitter because, like, God didn't do what they wanted him to do. Except he did. They just were blind to it. But they were blind because God blinded them, if we're listening to the writings of the Apostle Paul, so that we might be so that the Gentiles might be grafted in. Right? But the Lord is coming back, and it says specifically in Zechariah 14, he's coming back to land on the Mount of Olives with all of his saints. Okay? And he will split the Mount of Olives. The one whose tongue is a double-edged sword. Sharp double-edged sword. Most of my comments were on YouTube and they just like stopped. So I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it got flagged because I'm on like a multi-stream app right now. But once again, like, go review this. I don't, and all of this stuff is true. You can go look. You can just go look it up. Go find what I'm saying and go look it up. Some of it's opinions, but the things that I've stated are facts are facts. Like, it was Jewish people who it was a Jewish man who started the first underground transgender like clinic. Also, it was a Zionist who did the first transgender surgery, right? And so maybe I should stop saying that word and start using the word like blues or something, just so the recording can stay up. Sheesh. Like, if they're trying to take my crap down, I'm telling you right now, the people are catching on like a lot, and like, stop. like stop, bro. Like, it's not. I'm telling you, I'm talking to people, I'm seeing their reaction to what's going on, and it's not looking favorable. Like, people are really angry, and they're starting to learn more, and distractions aren't going to work anymore. I'm telling you, people are pissed off about Charlie Kirk, whether it was a world stage event or not. I don't even want to get into that. But however it happened, people are really upset about that. And like, this is a video to help everybody. This is not, and I don't mean that in like a passive way or anything. I just don't want us to get to the point of violence. Like, in the spirit of, like, honoring what Charlie, would want. It's not, if we don't have dialogue, then what do we have? Like, so anyways, I just kind of wanted to get on that, talk about this topic, talk about the guy who they said murdered like 6 million Jews in World War II. Talk about Hitler a little bit, just because I haven't looked into a lot of it, but I've looked into what he said in his speeches, and I don't think he was using Christianity just as a way to gain power because of what he did by ending all of the transgenderism and the like the occult worship, and fixing the economy, and not letting, like, it's okay to not let somebody grape you. Like, that's okay. It's okay to do that. Like, you don't have to go back to an abuser. Like, those things are okay. And so, just because a person is like, oh, this is how we operate. Oh, let us live and do this in your country. It's like, no, but this isn't good. This hurts my country. Like, why would I let you continue to do this? Like, why would I let you to continue to give me terrible money at extremely high interest, or any interest? Why would I do that? But it's just, that's how we do things. No. Get out. Leave. Like, leave. I don't want your business. We don't want your pharmaceuticals, or your learning institutions, or your movies, or any of the things that are terrible for the people. No. Like, And so someone like that, like that's not a bad thing, right? Now, murdering a bunch of other people is bad. Yes. Torturing them is bad. Uh but do we have to like did the Holocaust, which means burnt offering by the way. Why were 6 million Jews being seeded in World War 1? Why was that thought? Why was that in newspapers? 6 million Jews, 6 million Jews, 6 million Jews. And now the number isn't really, they're not consistent with the number. Everybody says 6 million, but officially I think it's like less than that now. I think they're back to like 1.7 or something like that. And then American Red Cross, I know I've seen the document from American Red Cross, it said 250,000. And then I did a little bit of research on Nuremberg trials. There was a document that was put in. It was L-022, and that was what said how many Jews died at one concentration camp, which was like 1.765 million, I believe. And then, I mean, what's up with the concentration camps? Why isn't there cyanide? Why isn't there blue in the brick? Because there's not in the alleged gas chambers. Why isn't there locks on the gas chambers doors? That doesn't make sense to me. It's because it didn't happen. Like, obviously we're gonna call this for what it is and stop even playing the game of like, let's just ask questions and get people to think. No, we need to say it for what it is now, because it's the truth. Oh, well, what about all the Holocaust people who were there? What about the people that were there? What about them? Well, I mean, just because, like, this is what happens. It's like Roe v. Wade, right? Roe v. Wade, it was one person, and that one thing got abortion passed, and it didn't even happen. She lied about it. They were like, it was an affidavit that was put into the Nuremberg trials, and the main dude got brought to another court date in Ontario, Canada, because a Holocaust revisionist was passing out books saying, and the title of it was like, did 6 million Jews really die? And got sent to jail for 14 months or something like that. But in the trial, which is crazy, by the way, you can have whatever book you want, even if it is that book. Like, that's nuts. But the dude went to, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was like the main witness testimony to this affidavit that like 1.765 million, like, you know, blues got, you know, I'm trying to think of the words so the algorithm doesn't, you know, ban this video. But they got offed at one of the concentration camps. And basically this dude got cross-examined and was found to be a liar. And by the way, if that is, and this is just what I'm beginning to find out about it, if that's just like the tip of the iceberg with this thing should pretty much just pull the thread and it'll unravel, right? I mean, you have that, you have the gas chambers that didn't exist. What is with the testimonies? Like, I hear stories of people being like, they clawed into the gas chamber walls. That is concrete, bro. It's concrete. Go claw into your concrete. Go see how well that works out for your hand. It ain't gonna work. You can't claw into concrete. That is not what is going on. Like, that's not gonna happen. For one thing. For two, there was no traces of cyanide gas in them. Why were there swimming pools? Why were there theaters? Why were there football fields, like pitch, like soccer? Like what were all of these things that were there, and why were they there? But just the fact that there was no cyanide concentration built up in the brick is enough for me. I mean, it's one lie. It's what all you need is one. That's it. You know, because that's what happens. You start telling people that, like for instance, like, I don't know. Just think of anything that's like a huge 9/11, right? Everybody knows, or JFK, right? And it's like, oh, well, you know, I don't really think Oswald did it. And it's like, boom, official story is over. It's one lie. Distrust. The trust is broken. They're liars. They're going to keep lying to you. Stop going back like a battered housewife. Okay? They're going to continue lying. So if they told us one lie about it, how many other lies are there? Well, what about all the eyewitness testimonies? My personal opinion, it's too much trauma. They're too old. And once again, Jews are really flighty. You know, from what I've experienced. There are obviously Jews that aren't, but like overall, like you start bringing this stuff up and they get really scared. And so like anybody who's scared and in fight or flight mode, like they're going to just do and say whatever to just try to survive. Right. And so that's why one of the reasons why when we talk about it with them, there needs to be compassion with this, right? Because a lot of these people are just people like you and me, like they're just people, and they're some of them are into it more than others. Some of them are into the mysticism more than others, like you know, and some are just straight Torah Jews, and that's great. Like I want to talk to those people, you know, but you know if you go read the Talmud. Then the Talmud is like, oh yeah, you know, Jesus is, you know, I don't even want to repeat it, but it's really, really bad. And so yeah. Once again, I'm not supporting the mass murder of any ethnic group of people or any group of people. I do not condone violence. I do not condone mysticism either. You know, and I'm not saying that people should be killed for their beliefs either, right? So I'm not condoning a mass ethnic cleansing, whether it be of Palestine or whether it be of Jews. Okay? All I'm saying is that I do not believe what they've told us growing up. Because what did they everything it was all a lie. It was a lie. Like none of it actually happened the way that they said it happened to the extent that it happened. And that is for certain. Right? So automatically the argument is dead. All of the facts that they said were facts are now in question. We have to revisit everything. Right? None of it is true, in my opinion, that they have told me, because they have been proven once again to fabricate and lie and manipulate. So once again, for and on the record, I am not condoning mass violence, mass murder, mass rounding up of any groups of people, especially Jews, Israelites, Hebrews. That is not the way to go. We need to be civil and have conversations about this and discuss it, because I see this rising with people who I'm like, wait, like boomers. I'm like, wait, like you were all like John Hagee, like Israel, and now like you're like really angry about Israel. Okay, let's calm down, you know? So I'm here to try to help and try to give a solution. instead of letting people get too emotional, because if people get too emotional, this could escalate really badly, really quickly. Because once again, for an on the record, I come in full faith and credit as a friend to the United States and Israel. I am not at war with the United States, nor am I not at war with Israel. Okay? Not at war with either of them. So, I'm here as a friend. And I come in peace. Much love, y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. I hope y'all liked the live. I plan on doing these more often, getting my other social media accounts also hooked up to this one interface. I bless y'all. In Jesus' name. And share this with a friend. If you liked it, add a comment. You know, if you didn't like it, let me know your thoughts down below. Click the subscribe button and like and all that good stuff. And follow me on my socials.